Yeah, Grandad and Mr Tech Direct. Yes, welcome back to the Grandad and Mr Tech podcast, the gaming podcast that asks the most important questions about the gaming industry, like, so, are you getting one? And that is the question, isn't it, this week? We should remind people that are watching this 2 years after the publication date, because we finally made it and we're famous and people are catching up. But we are recording this in the week of the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement. So the big question this week for anyone with half a leg in the gaming pool is, are you getting one? Are you getting one, Grandad? What are you doing? Are you getting one? You getting one in?
Yes, you won't be surprised to know that, yes. I did watch the announcements. I thought it started, as you would expect, it started very strong, didn't it? Straight in with Mario Kart. I mean, if you're going to get one, that's certainly going to sway you. I will hold off. I did hold off for about, how long was it? I think about 5 years on the original Switch. And the only reason I have a Switch is because I was very kindly bought one for a Christmas present. So I managed to hold off for a good, I think it was coming up to about 5 years. But yes, very big news. Very impressive. Obviously, Mario Kart looks incredibly even more glossier than I thought Mario Kart could even look. But I won't be pushing the button. But the important thing is, do you think you will be pushing the button to be purchasing one?
Well, this is a question that I've been asking of myself repeatedly, at least 3 times a day since the announcement. And I mean, I do want one. There would be nothing more pleasant than on a I don't know what day of the week the launch date falls. Any idea what day of the week it falls on? Don't know. Let's say it's a Wednesday, middle of the week. You've had 2 days of work, and then boom. Hang on. Boom. Fingers, come on. There we go. There's a switch. Two switches. That was a 2-finger switch click. Switch 2. It would be lovely for a Switch 2 just to plop into the door and to be booting that up on day one, which is what I intended to do. That was my plan building up to this announcement, because I'm weak and I like new consoles. I thought I just get one. Just don't mess around. Just get one in. Come on. But at the moment, you might be surprised to know I'm holding off. That's my current decision. The decision may change in the future.
Yeah.
The decision may change. It's a very appealing looking machine. But it comes down to whether I can really justify it for myself. And I like the look of the Mario. As you might know from previous conversations, I'm most looking forward to really playing some existing games, possibly at 60 frames a second, and not having, and obviously, and they're doing the Switch 2 upgrade editions of things like Zelda Breath of the Wild, which would be great for me because I bought Zelda. It would have been 7 years ago now, and I've probably played about 3 hours of it. So if I can play it in a higher res at better frame rate, that might encourage me to finish what is by all accounts a great game. But I think the thing that's putting me off most is the price of the games as it's being announced, which seems eye-wateringly high all of a sudden. And you know what Nintendo are like with their first party games, very rarely hitting sales. And let's be honest, when you've got a PS5 Pro and an Xbox sitting around, any game that's multi-platform, I'm just going to play it on that because the PS5 Pro is way, way, way more powerful even than the Switch 2, which is about a PlayStation 4, I think. I'm not into the nerdy stats, but let's just say it's a PlayStation 4 level. So really, the Switch 2 is a Nintendo exclusives machine, as it should be, and they do make great exclusive games, but yeah, if they're 70 quid a pop, 75 quid or something, I can't remember what the Donkey Kong was, but something like
Yeah, that is coming in. Is it about 67, 68? And Mario Kart is
Mario
physical.
Kart was even more, yeah. It just, am I going to buy lots of new games at that price and then get through them where I've got a massive backlog? So it's a
You're
real horrible decision, really, because there's no way I can justify it if I consider what I've got kicking around here to play and entertain me. But it'd be nice to have one, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to be part of the gang and
It's part of the
see.
gang.
I mean,
Yeah.
5th of June, and you're going to be watching all these hoons unbox them and show the packaging, and it's going to be every single time you go to YouTube, there's going to be loads of people unboxing it and showing it off, and you're going to be there going, oh, I haven't got one.
I think that's what you've got to kind of wrestle with, isn't it? Because I can't deny that Nintendo make very good showcases. They make very good games. Yeah, it is very eye-watering, the price of not just the games, but what also interests me is we're now getting a camera for it. We're getting chat functionality, which reminded me of the kind of PlayStation 2 iToy days of when you had the iToy camera. Similar, but it's interesting now that, Nintendo are choosing to kind of incorporate that interactivity. I believe the camera's 50 quid on its own. Um, it did look like it was lagging a bit on the when they were showing it, but again, that's going to be dependent on your internet connection. Yeah, probably a great deal of fun. I'm still unfortunately probably no more past about 2.5 hours on Mario Kart 8 on my original Switch. Um, but yes, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be purchasing it. I mean, you get it with Mario, wouldn't you? You get it with Mario Kart. I mean, it's
Oh
coming in.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a no. There's
Yeah,
no other way to buy it because buying it and then buying that game separately is just that's just way too expensive. I mean, I'm not sure what the demand for that camera would be. I can't see that. Who's really gonna use that
that's
every
what I was
day?
wondering.
I don't know about that. That seems like I mean, and again, the whole chat thing. Fair play. It's good that it's got it, and it's quite novel having. Oh, sorry, that was a beep. I think that was me. It's quite novel that you can stream your own game to your friends, so you can see their screens in your screen and having your little face there. But I mean, in-game chat has been around for a decade probably, and Nintendo are finally doing it. Well done. Um, that's doesn't really hold much appeal for me. I'm the wrong age bracket for that. That's not happening. So yeah, for me, it really is. It's that fear of missing out of just day one, thinking I could be playing Mario Kart World. We
Which
playing
is now
Mario Kart World
uh,
now, but then I've got Gran Turismo 7 with a Wii
oh,
pedals, which
yeah,
is phenomenal. So
yeah.
I think I'm gonna hold off. The clincher for me, which tells me I will have one eventually, aside from the fact that I'm not strong enough to never get one. I mean, let's be straight about things. Is the huge surprise announcement that there's a From Software exclusive game coming called the Duskbloods, and if you're not aware, or our listeners are not aware, all I don't know how many listeners are up to now. From Software being the company that make Elden Ring and the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne, which are some of my personal favorites. So I've got to play that. Like I have to. There's no way I'm not experiencing that. But that's coming out in 2026, so that gives me plenty of time just to clear the backlog a bit, or just wait in general. But I do want to play that. That was probably the highlight of the direct for me, seeing that announced, because that was such a huge surprise. No one would have seen that coming. Whether it will be a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive forever, I'm guessing maybe a couple of years. I have a feeling this will be one of those things that after a couple of years it will appear on other platforms as well, because I can't think of many third-party games on Switch that were never released on anything else. Can you? I mean, obviously, play Mario on a PS5.
Yeah, apart from obviously the key, IPs. But you're right. I think they'll lock it in, won't they? Because that's quite a clever move to, with all the hype and everything. Even if it's a year, I don't know how long these licenses last, but they're going in quite strong with an exclusive there. I'd never even heard of the software company, of course, or even what it was. And when you were getting very excited about it all, I was thinking, what on earth is this? But that's that's why I was quite interested to know what that was and why it was generating so much hype, I guess.
It does seem to be that's quite a move for Nintendo. I think to have made a deal with FromSoft to do that. Their games have mostly been on all platforms, apart from Bloodborne back in 2016 or something, which was a PlayStation exclusive, and the fan base has been yearning and crying out for a remaster or a 60 frames per second patch at least for year after year, and it never surfaces. And somehow the Nintendo ecosystem hasn't felt like the place you would go to first for a game like that. Whether this is just a personal misconception, but there's a kind of game you go to Nintendo for. Yeah, they will have third party games, and they've shoved a lot of stuff onto Switch. But a game like that, which would have been your PlayStation or your Xbox or your PC gamer, for something like that from them to be now a Switch exclusive, that feels like quite a big deal. That's quite interesting, and I think this probably is a sign that Switch 2 is going to obviously try and broaden out, as it should, if it's able to run higher spec games, and which it obviously can if Elden Ring is going to be on it as well. So being able to play that handheld's pretty neat. If you haven't already played it.
Again, that's certainly a game that I know you've talked about a lot. Never played, never even heard of it actually until you'd kind of said about it.
It's a little fella running around with a sword game, bashing monsters on the head. Your favorite.
That's right. Well, I did notice, as you did, not only a Nintendo doing all the big stuff, but there was some retro elements buried, wasn't there? So we're getting GameCube emulation.
Oh, of course, yeah, that's the big
finally.
retro. Yeah.
But in typical Nintendo fashion, they're wheeling out 3 games for it, It's exclusive to Nintendo Online, so you need a subscription, and you obviously need a Switch too. And we're getting Zelda, Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. It did flash very fast on the screen that there are others coming, but as we know, like with the SNES stuff, the Mega Drive stuff, the NES stuff, Nintendo are very good at very carefully drip feeding titles to that platform, to that service, aren't they? So it's exciting, um, but to have the full experience, you are gonna need to buy their fresh off the press GameCube pad for £58.99.
58.99. Available again only to Switch Online
Ooh,
members, which is
yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah.
it's not the basic tier as well, is it? For GameCube, you need the
It's
extra
the additional, which I
tier.
mean, at the time we are talking, but I'm quite sure this has surely got to go up. I think it's coming in at it's still £35 a year, isn't it? Um,
Don't think they. Well, I haven't seen any announcements of a price hike on that.
no,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised because they are still quite reasonable compared to obviously Sony and Xbox, aren't they? Aren't Microsoft. So they may not, but they've got that audience now. Once they get the people buying the Switch 2s, you've got the GameCube audience. Yeah, it might well inflate a little, mightn't it? So
Yeah, the whole the GameCube on there is interesting, and the virtual console offerings in general.
mm,
They are really lovingly presented, and it is quite exciting when you boot up the Switch and you go into one of those and you get the little thing saying there's new games and they all pop up.
yeah.
Yeah, all these old Nintendo games that I've know or played once or never played, they're all here. I can play them all, and then I just played none of them.
Well,
uh,
that's what I found. Yeah, yeah. Like you say, it's that kind of hit, that dopamine hit, isn't it? Of, oh, great. I had exactly the same. And as you know, and as we talked about, I had to cancel my online subscription because literally I played 2 hours of N64 in an entire year. But yeah, it's how much it will get utilized. And they will drip feed it. Um, but I was the same, even watching the announcements, I was like, oh, GameCube. But yeah,
yeah,
not for me, unless someone kindly buys me one again for Christmas or birthday.
you'll have one eventually. I know you will. Let's say it's 5-6 years down the line. There will be a time you'll have a Switch to.
I'm sure I will. I tend to absorb and accumulate most things eventually through lots of weird and wonderful ways. And like we've said before, I'm not adverse to the newer gaming and the newer platforms and consoles. I just tend to be more grounded in, yeah, the older stuff, very much so.
Yeah. Yeah, would I play Wind Waker on a Switch 2 is a question.
Yeah.
I would definitely boot it up and have a 15 minutes of running around going, oh, this is cool. Especially if you've got the GameCube controller, because I know the some of the controls on that are quite fiddly. Or they don't map that well to the current controller style. But in honesty, like if I had a Switch 2, am I going to play Wind Waker emulated? No, I'm going to play upscales Breath of the Wild, which I still haven't finished at 60 frames per second. I'm probably going to pay Nintendo 20 quid for the luxury of playing it in an enhanced version, or more. I don't know that. I'm not sure that they've announced that. I've been waiting to see
I
if they.
didn't see that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't seen that announced either. What these Switch 2 upgrade versions cost. That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think they flashed on the screen that you can purchase an upgrade pack, and that was it. Very vague. So that could be anything, couldn't it? Is it a five or is it a tenner? Yeah, is it free if you've already bought it? But we don't at this stage. We don't currently know, do we?
No, there's a lot we don't know, and I think that's another reason to hold off in a way. Someone like me who's spoiled for gaming options. I think this is what it boils down to, and this is a topic that I think we can talk about in another episode at length. Being spoiled for choice. If you've got more than one system in the house, what to do about massive game backlogs, the whole fear of missing out on new games that you desperately want to experience, and you play 10 minutes of them. I think it's a sign that we're all spoiled rotten, to be fair. I would hold my hand up and say I've got riches beyond belief sitting around for me to play.
Mm.
Um, but it's probably worth stressing that if you love Nintendo and you just have a Switch, then Switch 2 is going to be amazing. And if you were to dedicate your time to it and you sunk your teeth into all the emulated offerings, you'd probably have an absolutely great time. But alas, the path I've chosen is to have too many things and too little time to play them all. So you end up going round and round in circles.
Yeah, and absolutely the same as you know. It is that thing, isn't it? Where you hit a point where you've almost got too much choice, and that creates more problems. I mean, remember way back because we're both quite old now, and we're both, granddads in our own right, I suppose, age wise. But um, back in the day when you had what, a couple of games, half a dozen games, that is all you could play. There was much more time back then, less responsibility, and you would sink your teeth into a very small amount of games, wouldn't you? I mean, absolutely the same. There's devices galore. I could probably put my hands on about 10 different versions of Mario World, in the room I'm sitting in. But that's as technology advances, it becomes easier and easier to emulate, doesn't it? Console emulation, like we talked about Nintendo putting old games on their platforms. Yeah, it's abundant, which creates its own first world problems of okay, what am I going to play now? How much time have I got to play? And and things keep coming out, and it's the fear of missing out, and that sometimes gets you excited, and then you think, actually, yeah, how are we going to cram all this in?
Yeah, it does. It keeps rolling on. I tell you what, I would like to see before we wrap up Switch 2. Um, we've seen Mario Kart World, which does look amazing. I love the mashup of the kind of Super Mario World style over map brought into Mario Kart somehow with connected tracks, and that does sound super cool. 24 players. Um, the the 3D Donkey Kong game looked a lot of fun, smashing into stuff, and it looked very tactile. Although I'm a big Astrobot fan on the PlayStation, I think in terms of that hands-on feel and the feedback you get from playing that through the controller, I still think that's one of the best things. I don't know. I mean, Nintendo have got their magic, but um, that does look good. But there's a if I was going to be slightly sneery, I would say Nintendo. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, what was that?
That's, what can we do about these interruptions? Um, if I was going to be slightly critical in a way that's being a bit of a git, really, is Nintendo do have a habit of kind of just remaking the same sort of four games again and again for every platform, and then
Yeah.
the next one comes out, and every Mario, every 3D Mario is a little bit different, and they've got their little hooks and things, and all of them are great fun. But you do get a sense that you're kind of going around the same ideas. I mean, I can't think of many new IP ideas from Nintendo in the last 10 years. Anything that was completely new idea, a completely fresh set of characters. I guess Splatoon was probably the last big one where they went into team-based shooters essentially, but firing ink and whatever. That was pretty cool, and that was brand new. But I guess if you're a Nintendo fan, again, why would you care? Like, every Mario Kart is playable, every Mario platformer is super playable, every Pokemon game is a piece of shit. So you just play it on the new shiz, and it looks great, and it's
Yeah.
and life's good. Why do you need anything else? So yeah, one day I'll have one. One day I'll have one. Anything
Uh,
else you feel like you want to talk about with
we
Nintendo
switched we
Switch 2
switched
announcement?
to well, it was interesting because I did hiding beneath the rather impressive showcasing. Um, very quickly, there were some retro things hidden as well. It looks like there's a Pio Tetris game. Um, there's randomly Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Oh yeah, they're kind of that's been chuntering away for a while, remasters or re-releases of that. I'm not really following it. I've never played a Tony Hawk's game. I've kind of they've escaped me. They look quite good fun, but
Yeah, I've not played a lot of them. And then I think original Ridge Racer 1, so that must be PlayStation Ridge Racer, flashed up on the screen. Um, the Project 007 seemed interesting because I had not known anything about that at all.
oh yes. Yes, I thought you would be
And
excited about that. You're a big Bond
yeah,
fan, aren't you?
I am, and obviously back in the day, a huge GoldenEye fan for a Nintendo 64, and also Nightfire for GameCube. I absolutely played to death. So I don't know anything about Project 007. Is that another first-person Bond shooter? Is that doing anything different? Do we know? Because did you say that's also a place? It's not Nintendo exclusive. It's PlayStation as well. Xbox. I'm not really
Yes, that will be on everything, I think. That upcoming Bond game, which I don't know a huge amount, but I think that's made by the people that make the Hitman games. Um, which are again, I've actually never played a Hitman game, but I've got friends who do, and they swear by them. Um, the the level of emergent gameplay, as the phrase is in that game, where you can choose how you take out your targets in various amusing ways. That company taking on Bond, I think people are quite excited about because it's got potential to really add something interesting, that you're doing your
sure.
spying and you're shooting and whatever, but you have a lot of flexibility. So it'll probably be a very sophisticated Bond game, I think. I'm not sure what I mean, obviously I know what GoldenEye is like. I've never played the Nightfire that you mentioned. But I would have a lot of faith if you're a Bond fan on Project 007 whenever it does come out being something special. I have a feeling that's probably the case.
Mm. That did pique my interest because, as I say, GameCube days, Nightfire multiplayer, which was quite a step up from GoldenEye on the Cube. Yeah, we played that. It was just continually fused into the GameCube at one point. So, and we knew, when you get to again, when benefit of more time, you get to know the maps inside out. You get to know all the hiding spots. You get to know where the shields are, where the weaponry is. We got to that level on Nightfire. That's why I was particularly excited when they mentioned GameCube, whether Nightfire would actually appear
Mm.
there at some point.
In time, I'm sure it will. I'm
It
sure it will.
probably will. The other thing I note, which is again, it makes sense, doesn't it? They're a business. I did notice that we are getting an upgrade in storage, aren't we? But we are potentially having to now buy additional micro SD express cards if you want to have more storage for the Switch 2. We're getting 256 gig, which is up from 32, isn't it?
Yep.
But if you want more, it's going to be locked down to these express cards, which I think you are talking about 40, 50 quid. It makes sense. We don't know how big the games are going to be, but again, that's an additional cost to maybe factor in if you're going to have more than just the kind of first party Nintendo stuff, isn't it?
This is nothing new for Switch though. I've got a
Nah.
SD card sat in my Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, the increased storage is good. These things never come with realistically the amount of storage you'd use up, and you'll fill everything whatever you've got.
Yeah.
That's always been the experience with every console, but yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, it would be nice if they seemed committed to the subscription model on the online service now, but part of me is a little bit sad that you can't selectively just buy one of these emulated old games. If you had a particular N64 game or a SNES game or a Game Boy Advance game that you absolutely adored, to be able to just buy that one game outright and play it on your Switch,
Yeah.
or everything's wrapped up in a service.
That's what bothers
You
me.
get half a
Yeah.
dozen of them every month instead of
Yeah.
just buy what you want. I mean, it just ugh.
Yeah. That is the thing. And like I've said to you, it is more control. It's sneaking into that. I mean, we're clearly in the digital age, but you're right. Why couldn't there also maybe be that ability to do that? I mean, it's brand new, of course it is, but we know stores go down, in the future. They get pulled, Nintendo Wii, 3DS, PS3 was hanging on. I think it's still hanging on. You know, nothing in that kind of format is ever yours. It's debatable still whether anything you buy digitally will be yours in numbers of years, if not decades.
Yep.
But you're right. I think it is that control. You have to have a subscription. That's the only way to play it. It's got to be online. You've got to access it a certain way. It's controlling the market, isn't it? I mean, clearly not just Nintendo, but we are moving rapidly away from that physical media, the box, the disc, the cartridge. It's sad, and I find that sad as a real kind of more retro gamer, because you taking out that tangibility. But that's the age we are living in. It is going direct and digital and immediate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's already there now, isn't it? For
Yeah.
every all intents and purposes, and it's not going to change. I think my last thought on that really is, I would guess Nintendo don't really want you playing old emulated games.
I don't
They
know,
offer
really.
them because they know it draws people in and there's a fan base, but there's no money to be made in people playing Wind Waker emulated, because even if you enjoyed it and everyone loved it, it's taking away attention from something new, which is people will buy, and they need the hype to be on the new thing and the next thing.
Yep.
So by dumping it in a service, people jump on it because, oh yeah, awesome, that, oh look at that, that's so cool, I'll sign up to that. They'll probably play some of them, but if you purposefully chose one game and bought it and played it for 60 hours, those 60 hours you're not playing the new Donkey Kong that they want to charge you 80 quid for. So yeah, right, well, that's the Nintendo Direct, everyone. we'll take a break and we'll talk about something else, I think.
You're back.
We're back.
Back. Did we say who we are last time? I can't remember. Does it matter?
It doesn't. I don't think. Welcome back. Yeah, we are back. Okay. So, Grandad, what else have you been up to in the world of gaming since our last episode? I heard a rumor that you may have acquired something interesting.
Yeah, two things actually. It's quite remarkable because I think since the last pod, I seem to have acquired two more consoles. I do frequent local car boot sales very regularly. We might well discuss the delights of what you can pick up from a retro gaming perspective from car boot sales. There's
FIFA.
there's
96.
yeah,
FIFA
oft
97.
yeah,
FIFA
um
94. FIFA
often yeah,
2001.
stacks and stacks of FIFAs, which litter practically every table. That's a very common occurrence. But interestingly, uh, I've picked up, two consoles, one of which you'll be very interested in because what was sat on a table a few weeks ago was a PlayStation 5.
Shocking revelation. You heard
Yeah.
first, Grandad, the retro game enthusiast, as
Yeah, same.
PlayStation 5. What are you trying to muscle in on my territory? What are you doing?
Wow. So in the risk of ruining any kind of credential, I did purchase the said PS5 digital edition as well. So as much tech version as you can get, suspiciously cheap, which is why everyone was kind of walking away from it.
Are you at
Um,
liberty to disclose the
yeah, so it came in at a very bizarre price, and I'll explain why. So £192 I paid.
90?
Not with a pad. It was that price because they originally wanted £200, but they also wanted a PS5 pad holder that was £8, but I got them to kind of throw that in for the full 200. So really, the PlayStation was £192. Um, in this time that we are talking, that is still a complete bargain. It's
That's
very it's I didn't expect to be buying a machine of that caliber at a car boot. It works absolutely fine, and the first things I booted up for it was Time Splitters and Doom 64. Of course.
naturally, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
So
so
what are my chances of being able to flog up my PlayStation 5 for 350 quid then, which is what it's currently listed out on eBay if anyone wants a great condition used PS5? Because this car boot sale story is saddening me somewhat to think that they're now cropping up for less than 200 quid.
I mean, that's very unusual. I mean, I go to a lot of them. That's the first time anything like that has been, available. Very genuine reason for sale. Bizarrely, they wanted to raise funds for an electric bike. It's whatever you want to buy, isn't it? Um, but yeah, it's quite interesting that things like that are kind of cropping up. Not only that, going straight back many decades, I also managed to pick up an original Xbox, as in the
Yeah.
huge original
The
heavy
massive, great, chonky thing. I've never had one of
Xbox.
them, but and how much did that set you back?
So that was £100 with 5 games and a pad.
This seems a little bit skew if I could say that. 100, 200 quid for a PS5, 100
Yeah,
quid for an
about
extra
100
5
quid for it.
games. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I would be. I wouldn't trust the PS5 that I saw at a boot sale.
I
something
wouldn't do it.
about it would just
Yeah,
put me off.
everyone was walking past. Yeah,
What? Mm,
yeah.
interesting. Well, you made the move. I'm impressed. I know your boot sale ability is second to none. So, congratulations. Welcome to the future. You've
So,
got a
yeah,
console with with the number 5 in the title is definitely
yeah,
retro. You know,
yeah.
you were supposed to buy this in like 2035. And how does it feel? Have you found a home for it? And what have you played on it? Have you played anything new? That's what I want to know. Have you played any new
Well,
games?
yeah. So apart from the initial excitement and the realization I can just play old games on a new console, which is fairly ridiculous. After I got over the fact of spending about £1.20 on Doom 64, I did get Gran Turismo 7 and I did try that Astro's Playroom.
Nice, yes, free with the PlayStation, the one that comes installed on it, or you can re-download it.
Yeah, I just was able to kind of re-download that. So that was my experience of the future. And I've got to say, yeah, a very interesting experience with Astrobot. Obviously, this is the first, literally, this is the first time I've ever held a PS5 pad. I'm not joking. So to
Oh,
me,
it's a nice pad though, isn't it? How
yeah,
nice does that
yeah,
feel in your hands?
yeah.
Oh, it's nice.
Um, I could definitely tell the weightiness of it, the vibrating motor. Yeah, it felt very solid, very quality. Um, I will admit I've not played that PS5 very much, but yes, after finding rather a large amount of space to kind of house it, it is currently in my gaming room and ready to go as another addition, as is the Xbox. So, yeah, in one fell swoop, the future and the past in uh, under yeah, last 2 or 3 weeks.
Excellent, excellent. Very excited to hear you playing Astrobot, which is phenomenal. Even just that kind of mini version of it that was like they're testing for it. Um, Keep an eye out for a cheap copy of the full Astrobot game that came out last year.
And that's
You
the
go to
thing,
see
isn't
that
it? Because
because
I'm limited, because it being digital, of course, it's
oh
gotta be
yes, yeah. Well, eventually when it crops up on a sale, or I could lend you my physical copy. That is phenomenal, that game, and the way it uses the DualSense pad to make you feel like you're running through fields of acorns or glass or whatever is, yeah, something else. And GT7 as well, because I believe you've got the full wheel and pedals set up like myself. Is that right?
I do, yeah, have the Logitech, setup, which again was another thing kind of at the back of my mind thinking, "Well, actually, I do like that kind of an experience." So maybe it's worth dipping my toe into the future a bit for that. I haven't rigged that up yet, though. So again, that's something that I will be doing,
Oh,
but yeah.
you're in for a treat there. It is just phenomenal. It is phenomenal. If you've got the proper housing for it that you can get it up and collapse it down. Yeah, sit yourself a good distance from the TV, as in not a long distance, but the right.
Yeah.
Immerse yourself by sitting just
Yeah,
the right distance, and the graphics and the quality and the experience of racing on that is, yeah, it's wonderful. Really, really love it. And those, you'd think, given I'm saying this, I'd be doing it all the time, but it's surprisingly physically demanding. Like if you've just had a drive, you don't want to do it. Like if you've just been driving your car and you get home, you're like,
okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to drive, because yeah, it does take it out of you, and it's great for that reason. But yeah, truly, truly great stuff. GT7. Um, You got your eyes on any other games? Then that's what I'm. No, are you browsing the PS5 store now, ready to get some
Well,
PS5 exclusives?
I did, you'll laugh because the other thing I did, because there was a big sale on recently, I bought Final Vendetta, which is a retro beat 'em up essentially, a new old game, and Horizon Chase 2, which is what we've talked about in our first, last pod, I think, um, because that was, quite a good price. So I'm still kind of scouring the new old games with it and not quite fully got to that point of brand new, immersive futuristic games as yet. Whether I will or not, well, maybe we'll see as we go along.
Yep, keep your eyes peeled. I'll give you the nod on any new games that might tickle your retro fancy. Good crossover games. I haven't played Horizon Chase 2. That does look very slick. The first one's a lot of fun, and of course
Mm.
all your PS4 games, which I think you do have a few of, don't you?
Yeah.
They will probably play out nicely on your 5 now.
Yeah, oh, I did get, Planet Coaster 2. I do like me management sims and, theme parks, so that came up on a deal, so that qualifies as quite modern, I would hope.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that probably really
Yeah.
benefits from the power.
I did find something last night, which looking at the cover, I thought I should hate this. This looks terrible. Um, this is on original Xbox, and it's Ty, the Tasmanian Tiger 2 Bush Rescue.
Oh,
I have never
making this
heard
up.
of this game in
Wait,
my life,
how
and
do
I
you
swear to you, I clocked up 37 minutes last night playing this game. No joke.
how do
It
you
was
how do you spell this? Thai?
I, the Tasmanian Tiger 2.
How do you spell Thai?
So just TY.
Okay. Thai the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah, so it's a sequel. I think they've made 3 or 4 of them. Literally never heard of it. This came with my Xbox. Bunged in 36 minutes later. I had a lot of fun. Um, it's not the kind of game I should really like. It's got even an option to have a Mario Kart type element to it. It's a 3D kind of into the screen. It was getting into sort of robotic, um, you know, um, not creatures, but you got into these kind of big robo suits and you were flinging around and you were firing missiles and it was just bonkers, but it was a lot of fun. I'm not sure it's got much longevity for me, but 36 minutes from scratch, I say that's a bit of a win.
Oh, the no, I know that is I respect that time. Um, I'm intrigued that I'd never even heard of this proper.
Never heard of it. It's
Never
got
even heard of it. I'm looking at some screenshots, and this looks like a um a Ratchet and Clank type
yeah.
with. Yeah, how have I never even heard of this? Incredible.
And say sometimes things are just in and so it's got EA Games on the front, so it's got stock and it's a sequel. But it it was just a lot of fun. It was just crazy. It had a lot of variety and like we said before, in this day and age, to keep my interest certainly for anything over 5-10 minutes from a quick blast, it was doing something.
Excellent. Well done, Ty the Tasmanian tiger. I'm sure it's got its fan base, and I've learned something today.
And have you been playing anything modern age?
So what have I been up to? Unsurprisingly, the theme of the last two podcasts, I have been playing more Monster Hunter Wilds. Given that came out about a month ago, and I'm a massive fan. I managed to roll credits on it, which is not saying much because getting to that point in any Monster Hunter game is always it's like completing the tutorial. Really, you haven't really done anything when you get to the credits. You just get past the bulk of like the cutscene stuff and the main story, which is a bit dispensable, to be honest. So it's pleasing to get past that and start to sink my teeth into the game proper. I think I'm up to about 30 hours or so to get to that point, which is good. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm still on the fence as to whether it's better or whether I prefer it to Monster Hunter World, the previous, full scale version of Monster Hunter. It's something about it is a little bit off, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm still playing it and enjoying it. So it's not that off, if you know what I mean. It's still tickling
Yeah.
Monster Hunter urge. And then I've been playing a few things in the Souls-like genre, which I'll fill you in on that because I'm sure you won't know what that is. We talked in the first part of the show about FromSoft, who made Elden Ring and Dark Souls. So Dark Souls is a game that spawned the term Souls-like to describe a game that borrowed its main themes and mechanics, namely being hard as nails bosses, losing all your experience, if you like, when you die, and you have to go and find it again, otherwise you lose it for good. So any game ever since Dark Souls which does anything remotely like that is now a Souls-like. And I think in essence it normally means, of all of those things I've described, the most important one is typically just hard as nails bosses. So it's intricate combat where you've got to fight the boss again and again and again and again and again, and you die, like, unless you're very good, you're expected to die to it, I don't know, 10, 20 times, possibly more, slowly learning how to beat it. So there's been a new Souls-like released recently called The First Berserker Kazan, which there's a demo released on all platforms. So I've been playing that and having a little bit of a go on that. And I haven't played a Souls-like, as I repeated the name, for a while. And this style of game is a little bit of a masochistic experience for me because I love it, but at the same time, when I'm playing something like this, I am in a situation where I'm raging and shouting at the screen and wanting to throw the pad at the wall. I did once go through a phase. This was a while ago. I was a silly man back then, but I remember playing Dark Souls 3, and I did actually throw my PlayStation 4 pad at the wall playing that game. And I think I knackered it, actually. I think I had to buy a new one.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with these games because I really respond to the demands of them and the skill requirements and overcoming that challenge and chipping away. It definitely gives me that satisfaction, but at the same time, I ride a very thin line of I'm enjoying this versus I'm starting to rage at this. And then the longer the rage builds, you start to actively hate it, but then you want to beat it even more because you're kind of, I'm going to beat you. So that was interesting because not having been there, haven't been in that space for a while, with gaming, and I just remembered, oh yeah, I like these things, but bloody hell, do they make me rage like a 15-year-old. But very good game. A little bit a bit muddy to look at, not very inspiring, but the combat was very good. I was texting a friend of mine who's also playing it, and yeah, we were comparing notes, and it certainly knows what it's doing with the combat. But you'll be pleased to learn I've held off from buying it because again it's brand new. I'll wait for it to pop up on a sale.
Yeah.
And I went back and I've been playing an older game, which is of a similar challenging nature because something I never completed in the past. Another Souls-like with little man and a sword, but meeting up a big monster. And I was raging in my ass off at that last night as well. So yeah,
That's where I normally stop with, and that's why I tend to be more that, yeah, kind of quick blast games because, yeah, it frustrates me, or getting lost anywhere, or I'm terrible for those kind of. I like the freedom sometimes, but too much freedom, and when I get lost and then I don't know what I'm doing, and yeah, I get frustrated very very easily with that kind of stuff.
yeah, I haven't played anything that had a significant challenge for a while. And say a friend of mine when he texted me to say, "Oh, are you playing First Berserker Kazan? You'll love it. It's just your kind of thing." And I said to him, "Yeah, it's great, but um, but every now and again, yeah, I'm drawn to that, and it does hook me in. It's the kind of gaming where I can be there at midnight, and that's where I was this week on whatever night of the week it was. I would not put this down until I'd beaten it, and I did beat it, and I beat it in a very ragey kind of not breaking the game way, but I was clearly doing it in a way that probably isn't recommended. But I was in that state of mind then that I'm going to brute force this. I'm going to do this, however. And yeah, I just went crazy and I waded right into this massive boss and I just stood under its body and its legs and just it was hitting me and punishing me and taking off loads of health. And I just kept spamming my healing and then whacking it and whacking it and whacking it and being like, "No, I'm just going to wail on you until one of us dies." And I managed to be the first one. Well, no, I wasn't the first one to. It died, thankfully. And then you feel this wonderful sense of relief. You feel suddenly massively
Accomplished. Yeah,
lighter.
yeah.
And 2 minutes ago, I was raging at this thing and shouting it and calling it every name under the sun. And then you beat it and you have an instant, "Oh, I love this game." "Oh, I love this. This is awesome." And then you want to go and do the next level. And then you just repeat this cycle of pain and self-inflicted torture. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting. So yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. What else did I haven't played anything old, unfortunately. Oh, I did play. Well, it's kind of old. It's not really old. I bought a game, another new game. Hate to say, for the Switch called Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, which is a remastered game that was released on the Wii U in the Xenoblade series. Very impressive, big, epic scale kind of open world games for the Switch. Very obtuse, weird combat system, but kind of interesting once you get into it. And yeah, a series that's kind of well known for really pushing the envelope of what you can do on the Switch and the Wii U, I think.
No,
Like really epic, massive scale things. Like you'll see something far off in the distance, and whatever you see, you can go up to. Obviously, that's not a new thing in games, but the scale of things is always incredibly impressive. Like you see this building, and it looks quite big, and then when you get to it, you're like tiny little man, and it's absolutely
okay.
massive. And it one of the greatest selling points of it. It just has such a great sense of scale, and that's a very different experience. So that's the kind of cozy RPG combat experience where you can just boot it up, sit back. You do have to think. You know it takes some. It's not challenging, but it's very different. You can just sit there, pile in the hours, do some side quests, beat some baddies. There's tons and tons and tons of little quests and things, and yeah, I like that kind of stuff. So that was good. I'm hoping. What am I doing? Oh, I'm not hoping. I'm not buying a Switch 2. Damn it! I was
Well,
going
not
to say
yet.
I'm
Yeah, not
hoping
yet.
that I'm
Yeah.
hoping on the Switch 2 it might run a bit faster, and it runs incredibly well for a Switch game, but I was hoping that might be one that gets a little performance boost. But I'm not buying a Switch 2, so it doesn't matter. I'm not buying it.
No, no,
I'm not buying a
exactly.
Switch 2.
No,
No,
no, you've
not
got
buying it.
time. Yeah, you
I
can,
haven't
you
got
can.
time. I'm not buying it. I'm not having it, Nintendo. Go away.
Yeah, that was. I say that tie was the only main thing that I invested any kind of time in. I did have a quick glance at, which we discussed last time, Virtua Fighter 5 on the PlayStation 3, which is just Virtua Fighter. It does things very well, very nice. It didn't really engage me much because it's the fifth iteration of a very well-known series, and it's people you just don't really connect with. But yeah, it does it okay. And then on the same fighting theme, again, this is for Xbox, which is one of the games I got with the Xbox purchase, is Bruce Lee Quest of the Dragon, which again probably held my attention for a good 20-25 minutes. 3D brawler, Streets of Rage-esque. You are Bruce Lee wandering through a 3D field of endless baddies and enemies. Again, I'm not convinced of the longevity of the game, but I like quick blasts, don't I? You know,
Yep.
it's pick up and play. Um, it it was fun, and I'm still going through, yeah, what I got with the Xbox. The other 3 games I've not heard of, but we might discuss them on another pod. But yeah, Bruce Lee, Quest of the Dragon, also was quite a bit of fun. Um, and like we were saying, physical media. Xbox kind of skipped. I kind of skipped over the Xbox period. I went straight to Xbox 360. I remember having that, a lot of games for that. So now I'm on a quest to find very weird and wonderful original Xbox games. So this might well stay in my collection for now.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm on the hunt for kind of those kind of hidden classics that sometimes crop up on these older systems. And yeah, the physical, you know, cracking open the box, getting the disc out, putting it in the ridiculous sized Xbox and playing it on the ridiculous sized plate of a controller, was quite interesting. But I still, yeah, really like that kind of physical element. And speaking of physical, I don't know if we've got time, because there was another big announcement from um, the retro arena
Oh, why?
with something called Evercade. You've come across Evercade, haven't you?
I'm aware of Evercades. I don't have one. I think I've had a little dabble on one. Um, I like them. Yeah, very cool. For listeners that are not familiar with what an Evercade is, do you wanna fill everyone in?
Yeah, it's a very clever, very targeted kind of niche, really, because it is going for that kind of collectors who do want physical media. So basically, there's quite a lot of different devices now. They do handheld devices, they do console-based devices, but their whole ecosystem is based on loading cartridges into whatever system you have. The cartridges are very good because um, they're often, you know, compilations with anything from a couple of games up to about, you know, a dozen or, you know, 16, 18 games on one cartridge. They're going after expired licenses, so they are doing everything, legitimately. They're going after, old IPs. So it's a retro gaming machine or machines that you can play curated games in a number of ways. It's very clever if you've got the handheld and the home-based console because you can swap you can play the same cartridge on either. So and they're in cute little boxes. They've got manuals, they've got a cartridge, and there was a big announcement in terms of Evercade's showcase that they've recently acquired SNK. So they're putting out lots of they're going to be putting out a Neo Geo cartridge, and they're also releasing another version of their handheld, which is going to have SNK games built into it. So, like we said before, it kind of solves the solution a little bit when we're talking that we've got hundreds of games, thousands of, emulated games. It very much brings it down to, oh, I've got a couple of Evercade cartridges. I've got 5 games on that, 7 games on that. That is what I'm going to play. So it's grown a lot. I think they might be in their 4th or 5th year as we're talking. And the more licenses they're getting, obviously, the more games, the more cartridges they're putting out. I do have one. I've got a number of cartridges for it, and I've got the handheld and the console-based system. You can have save states. The cartridges are very clever because I think the emulation software is just sat on the cartridge. So, if you're booting up an Amiga game, it's just running it straight off the cartridge, as it was, as you would remember it.
So
So
does that mean you don't have to update the software on the console or the handheld? Is that
it
right?
does updates, yeah. Similar to Sony will do. Sometimes it does say it'll do updates. And sometimes on the console version, they'll and even the handheld, they'll give you like some free um games, each month. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what the updates are doing other than that. But um it's very clever because the cartridges and the spines of of the boxes, they're all numbered, they're all
Ah,
colored. If
oh,
it's an arcade collection, it's colored purple or brown. So it's very much going after that tangible market for retro gamers, collectors. It does work for me because if you've just got 5-10 minutes, you just chuck in a cartridge, you've only got those 5 games to
mm,
play. And it brings it right down to, okay, like we were saying before, I've only got those games, so I'll pick one of them rather than the first world problems, like we've said, of I've got hundreds, if not thousands, of versions of games across hundreds of systems. What on earth can I play? Evercade kind of brings it back down to, uh, I've just got a handful of games on this cartridge. But very exciting that SNK are now on board because that you've got things now like Metal Slugs coming through. You've got a lot of arcade gaming there. Very reasonably priced as well. They won't set you back 430 quid like a Switch.
mm.
They do their various versions of handhelds. They call them Hyper Mega Techs, and I think they're only 49.99, and they come built in with a set amount of games depending on the versions, because there's a Taito version, there'll be an SNK version, there's an Atari version. So for 50 quid, you can be up and running with a handful of games on a mobile device, and then it's up to you whether you want to get their home-based console. So yeah, very, very interesting um company, but very targeted to that tangibility and physical media.
Do you think it's got legs, so to speak?
That's what I'm wondering because I think we're only into 4 or 5 years. It's going to depend on if they can keep getting those licenses and keep broadening out. Interestingly, it's already providing its own kind of secondary market because as the licenses end, because they don't last forever, um, the cartridges can be horrendous value and fetch horrendous money on secondary markets as the licenses go. So it probably can, but it's going to only be as good as can they keep getting the licenses? Can they keep getting those old collections of games from previous companies? If that dries up, it might well just disappear into the ether.
Uh,
And then all of a sudden, the whole thing is probably going to cost you hundreds of pounds to
yeah,
get hold of. It'll be interesting, but it's how they've done well so far, but yeah, it's how much they can keep that going. Because I don't know how it works with licensing. Because presumably some licenses you'll never be able to get,
yeah.
don't they?
They are undoubtedly really nice products. Um, and they, on a certain level, they massively appeal. Like having the Tato, what did you call it? Hyper Mega Tech. So it's like
Ooh,
a little Game Boy style thing, yeah, with Bubble Bobble and New Zealand Story amongst others, just permanently on there.
yeah.
It's the kind of thing that I look at, and that's dangerous to me because you just instantly think, "Oh, I'd like that."
Yeah.
And where do you stop? It's hard to justify if if you've got experience building an emulation machine of some variety or running emulators, your logical brain is saying, "But this is ridiculous. I can play this emulated on any number of retro
Yeah.
emulation based handhelds." There is something undeniably pleasant about the tactile experience of popping a cartridge in. And I totally agree with you that the limitation of choice kind of focusing you down to what do you want to play
Yeah.
in a very interesting, yeah, for first world problems of got too much. Well, here's this thing, it's only got 5 games on it. Um, yeah, interesting products. There's obviously a perfect market for it. I love them. They are amazing. But yeah, I would quite like to have one, just to have one.
Yeah, well, that's
It'd
the
be
thing, and
dangerous, really.
it it is dangerous, and they clearly know what they're doing because obviously they're doing the separate handhelds with different game sets built in, so there's different versions or automatically. There's different. Um, Sometimes they'll release like the SNK Neo Geo one. There's going to be two types. They'll limit one because it will be in a certain color or skin. So again, people will be buying two. They might be keeping one, playing one. With the Hyper Megatech, I got one of those. Again, really dangerous. It was a weak moment just after Christmas, I think. £50 in game at the time. But to be fair, I then kind of just played that for the rest of the Christmas holiday. It was very pick up, yeah, and play, which is absolutely what it's designed to do. Very wary of trying not to look too hard at all the different versions and go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, priced very much and intentionally of, oh, I might, I fancy a bit of that. Like you said, fancy a bit of Bubble Bobble, fancy a bit of the old classics. Um, yeah, anyone who is interested, yeah, they are very, very fun to delve into, but just be careful
Uh,
because lots and lots of versions are coming out. They're making little arcade machines. They've clearly got a business model that is developing and making all sorts of different versions.
so what's the handheld that there is a handheld that they do that lets you plug in the carts as well, yeah? That you wouldn't need to.
Yeah. There is like a the Hyper Megatech is like a cut down version of their flagship handheld, so it's kind of splintering off a bit. But they all use their Evercade cartridges. So and I think there's an Evercade EXP or something. Um, the Hyper Megatechs are so they haven't got TV out, so their normal handheld has TV out. But yeah, the Hyper Megatechs are smaller. They're very much built like a Game Boy in size, but they come pre-installed with games that you can't normally buy on a cartridge anywhere else. That's the other clever thing. But they will also take Evercade cartridges. So you are literally, if you want everything, you're going to buy a Tato one, you're going to buy a Data East one, because that's the only way to get those games. So, but yeah, they'll all take their cartridges.
Hmm. Oh, hang on. You've said all that, and I'm going to ask you a question to repeat it. The Hyper Megatech
Mm.
has got the preloaded games like the Tato edition with Bubble Bobble, but you can then put the cartridge in that.
You can, yes.
Oh,
So if you buy that and then buy another random Evercade cart, you can put that cart in there, and then you've got the Tato games and whatever's on your cart.
now that's interesting. I didn't realize
So
that because I'm looking
yeah,
at the handheld Evercade machine, which is
yeah,
kind of horizontal looking, vaguely Atari Lynx looking thing, and
that's it.
I'm not really keen on that.
Yeah,
It doesn't do it for me. But
yeah.
the Game Boy style. Hang on a minute. What level of systems are they
Well,
emulating?
that's
Because
yeah,
this little Game Boy looking thing, that's not going to run Neo. Oh no, it does run Neo Geo level stuff because there's a Neo Geo one.
yeah. That's the very interesting thing because they've just announced, well, quite a bit of time ago now. Um, different cartridges called Giga cartridges, I think. So they're getting up to PlayStation level, PlayStation 1, because you can get a Tomb Raider collection pack. So it will be doing up to, yeah, PlayStation emulation.
Hmm. Oh, hang on a minute. Gremlin Games Collection.
There we go. You see, we've
Oh my
only
God.
opened up a can of worms here.
Ah, Bitmap Brothers Collection 1 and 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
Oh,
some
thanks
very
to
good
them.
IPs, and they've gone after some very, yeah, very interesting packages. But yeah, the cartridges are sneaking up, but you can pick them up between 15, £20 a cartridge, and it is worth noting that yeah, once the licenses go, Evercade will normally announce that they're being retired, and they say that they become legacy cartridges. That is absolutely the time if you were going to get some, to buy them, because yeah, secondary market, they go through the roof. You never know when that's going to happen, like with a lot of things. But the Bitmap Brothers collection, how long will that be around? We don't know. Could be years, could be indefinitely, or it might be running for X amount of time.
I tell you what, this Neo Geo edition Hyper Mega Tech, that's a mouthful, isn't it? With the black and the gold. Oh, that's nice looking, isn't it?
Yeah,
Little
it's
black one with gold lettering. Oh, that's nice looking. And then
see,
there's a Legacy of Kain collection cartridge. It's got Legacy of Kain and Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
yeah, that's PlayStation era, isn't it? I never played those games, but
No, well, they just released remasters of those for modern consoles.
okay.
I'm intrigued as to whether this Evercade cart version is an undoctored original. Surely that can't play in this Hyper Mega thing. Oh, what
Good.
have you done to me? I want one of these now. Never mind the
Well, I
Switch 2.
say, Mr. Tech, I think it's now your time to to buy something retro.
Oh,
Uh,
these are really neat. I want one.
they're priced very. It is that sweet spot. of like literally, like I said, what happened to me. It's like, oh, if we got £50, if you've had some Christmas money, if you've had birthday money, whatever it might, that they're priced very much at that. I quite fancy that. Yeah, I'll have a go with that. It's got X amount of games on it. Um, yeah, very, um, very interesting devices.
Yeah, I mean, I was aware of them. I think I'd missed some of the fine details. It might be a little bit confusing for people if they don't know the combination of devices with preloaded things and then
Yeah,
cartridges and then but do the cartridges go in that or not? Mm.
yeah.
And ooh, Commodore 64 collection 1, 2, and 3.
And that's the thing. So even if you have one of the cheaper models, yeah, they are made to run uh, the cartridges from the ecosystem, and again, home based. So
Yeah.
you can swap about, but the Hyper Megatechs have got also that, yeah, that inbuilt selection of games.
Yeah, very cool. Well, watch this space because the if I'm resisting a Switch 2,
So you can get one of these instead, mate.
I go wax 50 quid on one of these and make myself feel special.
Yeah,
Very good.
very good.
Cool. Well, I think that about wraps us up, Grandad. What do you reckon? We've talked Switch 2, we've covered all the latest news, all the important stuff. Um, what else is there to talk about this session? Anything? You got anything else, or shall we?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna sort of resume to my ever-growing stack of old games for various systems, which I will let you know what I'm playing next time.
Yes. Let me know how you get on with. I think you're playing it. You didn't mention it, so maybe you're not enjoying it. The RoboCop Rogue City.
I have just installed that. Yes, yes. So
Save that one for next time. Go and play some of that.
that's my job from yourself. I will play a modern era game, and I will go and play Robocop.
Cool, cool.
And you will go and buy Hyper Megatech, possibly.
It's just I've got a problem. I like buying new things, and I like anyway.
Yeah.
Must resist. Play the games I've got. So on that note, I think I'm going to go and find something to play. I'll play some Monster Hunter. What the hell? I think all that remains to be said is pre-orders are open for Grandad and Mr Tech episode 4. So get your orders in now. Don't have FOMO. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next time, but I'm sure it'll be exciting. Any suggestions, listeners, of something retro or modern that you are interested in and you'd be interested in us talking about, drop a comment and yeah, maybe we'll talk about it. All right. Thanks very much, Grandad. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Mr. Tech.
Until the next time then. Let's do some. There you go. That's the end of the Grandad and Mr Tech Direct. Bye.
Bye.